welcome to HTML beginner tutorial. Today we're going to be showing you beginner tools and what you need to know when you're starting in HTML. Now we are ready to begin. So you're going to need two things, and that is a browser and VS Code. Now to download VS Code, you go to this website, code.visualstudio.com, and you should be able to get to this page right here. And you're going to want to press download, and then it will show up here. This is your setup. Now that it's downloaded, you can press OK for English. It's good practice to use English as your language in any sort of code. Press accept, press next. It's great to have a desktop icon as well. Press next, and then you can install. Now that your program is installed, if you did what I did and choose a desktop item, you should have it on your desktop right here. If not, you can search Visual Studio Code right here, and there it is. Now we're going to be installing a extension. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to do it so you can always see what I'm coding and what happens. This extension is called Live Server, and we're going to want to press install. Whilst that is installing, you can go to your Explore page, open folder. Now I'm going to want this folder to be on my desktop, so I'm going to here press new folder, and I'm going to call this my websites, or just websites here. Websites. I'm going to choose this folder, and now you are inside the website. Now what you're going to want to do is open this, press new file, and this is going to be called index.html. Now the reason we call it index is because most servers and web pages refer to the index as the home page. So if this is going to be your home page, you should call it index.html. The .html is to say that this is going to be HTML code. You can open this, and we're now inside of our code. First things first, when it comes to starting up your web page, you need to obviously declare it. So we're going to do this, and a exclamation mark. Doc type stands for document type. Hypertext, markup language, HTML, and then you do another this, and make sure this is actually in lowercase. My apologies. And now you have declared your web page is HTML. Now that we have declared our HTML is an HTML5 document, we can do another pair of angle brackets here and give this an HTML tag, and then we also need an end HTML tag. Now you can tell this is an end HTML tag because it has a / right here. Now it's time to add another tag. This tag is your head. Your head usually contains stuff about your website, for example a title tag. So let's now add your title tag. We're going to need angle bracket, title, and then end it, and also get yourself an ending tag. It's always important, and it's good practice to write this before you write anything. Always remember to end it, because when you're looking through problems in your website, for example, you have some problems with your code, it's important that you check these sorts of things before you run your program. Now, inside of these tags, let's say, for example, this is my first website. This will now show up as your title. So let me show you, it'll be easier. Go to your Explorer here. You can either run it by starting to debug and pressing F5, which is one of the best ways to do it, of course. But since we added an extension, you just right click on your index.html. You So if I edit something here, if I, for example, were to edit the title and say hello world, and then I will save it, it will now show up as hello world, and that is your title tag. Now it's time to add your body tag. So an angel bracket, type body, and the angel bracket, and always make sure to end your tag with a slash. And this essentially is your body tag. So your body tag includes things that you see that are visual on your website. So the things that will show up in this white area here. So let's add a header. Now there's different types of headers. There are H headers that are just the same size as a paragraph. But if you do H1, that would be the largest header you can have. So let's type this is a header. Now Control S to save, and it shows up like this. And I already mentioned paragraph, so let's do angel bracket P and another angle bracket, and let's type something like this is a paragraph. On that, and you can see that it shows up here, and it's a way smaller version. If I were to do H2 and say this is a smaller header, and here you can see it is smaller, and that is because H1 is the largest, H2 is smaller, and so on and so forth. Okay, now that we've talked about headers and paragraphs, let's move on to some designs. So let's say you don't want this paragraph and this header to be so close. Maybe you want something in between it. So let's say you want a line break. You can do an angle bracket, HR, and the angle bracket, Control S, and this creates a line right through the middle. And this line is just a break, and it's merely just for design. So between headers and so on and so forth. And let's say you want to do BR right here, Control S. This is basically just to make some space. And that is two design things that you can add, which always looks good. You can do this again. You can just Control S, and you can play around with the header and paragraph now. Right, but let's say you want to do the breaking of the lines inside of your paragraph. Well, this won't work. So let me show you an example. Let's just type lorem here. This will just create some text for us. It does nothing, it's just, yeah. Alright, so let's say I want to put this text like this, do whatever I want with it. But let's save. It still, look, it doesn't show up how we want it. We want to have a bunch of line breaks, a bunch of breaks between here. We want to have this. Well, this doesn't work. So what we can do is call this paragraph pre. Just change this here. This will basically mean pre-formatted text. So if I now press Control S, as you can see, it shows up how we wanted it. And I can just keep on just making a bunch like this, just do a bunch of this, and it will show up how we want it to show up. So a paragraph or a pre-formatted paragraph, it's best to use a pre-formatted paragraph in my opinion, because then you can change however you want, but a paragraph is also there for you to use. Now, maybe you want an image on your website, and usually everybody wants an image on their website, so here I have a picture of a dog. Let's put this into my website folder. This is why it's important to have your folder accessible to you. You can always download it into your folder. I'm just going to drag it from here. I'm just going to drag it here and into my website. Now this is in my website. I can go back to virtual code Visual Studio Code, and our image is here. Now, to add an image to your website, okay, let's first think, where do we want this image? I'm going to say I want it in between here, in between our line here and our break. So, first of all, the reason you need to have it inside of your website is so that Visual Studio Code can find it and place it for you. So let's do IMG, which stands for image, and then SRC, which is basically searching for your image, equals, and then you need two tags here, and then you do dog.jpg. This is your image. You end that, and always important to have an alt text basically telling you what this is. And for people who are blind, who need to have alternative text so it is an accessible website, it is a rule actually that your website needs to be accessible. So our alt text will be, let's say, cute dog. This is a cute dog. Then we do Ctrl S, and as you can see, our cute dog shows up right here, exactly where we wanted it. Let's say we don't want it there, we want it after our paragraph. So I will do that, and make sure you end the tag. I almost forgot about that. And then Ctrl S, and as you can see, we have two dogs. One is in between our line break and our line here, and one is after our paragraph, and that is an easy way to add an image. So if you ever want to add another image, you just download it, drag it into your website folder, and it is image src equals, and then two tags like this, and you place it down inside here. You have to have the exact name, and then always important to have alternative text, or also known as ALT, alt text. You just Ctrl S, remove this, reset them, Ctrl S, and let's go. Thank you so much for watching this HTML beginner guide tutorial. I hope that you learned something today, and good luck on your journey. Make sure to like and subscribe.